Hey everybody, how's it going? Uh yeah, I wanted to do this solo episode. Well, I wanted to do the episode not solo, but the night that we could all record, my kid had to go to the hospital. Turns out he was just severely constipated. So we've all been there. I was like, finally, son, you're a man. Now I can show you what I know, you know? So anyway, I couldn't do it, but I really liked this movie. This is the first time I've seen this movie. And I wanted to like I just had all these great thoughts that it must be shared. Anyway, let's see let's see how this goes. I'm sure you by the way, you're probably like, finally, finally we can hear the person that we listen to the podcast here without him being interrupted and being told that everything he's saying is stupid and boring and that he needs to talk more into the mic, that kind of thing. So yeah, Conan the Barbarian. Just to be specific, I'm talking about the Barbarian. Um, yeah, this movie is awesome. I thought I watched this movie 3 times. That's the other thing. That's the other fucking reason why I needed to record is because I watched this movie 3 times. I was all excited, but I was trying to be good too. Finally, and then what's my kid do? Fucking little do I know he's not has not been pooping for like 5 days. What are you gonna do? Start a new school. He's a little nervous. My little guy. He's doing all right though. Anyway, so watched this movie 3 times for the first time and really liked it. It's really awesome. Um, it's kind of like it's like a, it's like a fantasy Dungeons and Dragons role playing movie, but for guys like me, you know, alphas, cool guys, none of this nerd shit. I don't like that stuff. That's more of a William Mike thing, and Ryan too. He hasn't been around for a while, but let's face it, no, Ryan's all right. But let's go through the movie and who knows what'll happen. Let's start. So the movie starts with oh fuck. Oh yeah, the dad. Maybe I should pull this movie up while I'm talking about it. The dad is making a sword. He gives it to his son. I can't remember if he gives it to his son. Oh, but he's talking to his son and he's saying like, "Son, I want to tell you this. I'm making this awesome sword for you." Or maybe it's my sword, but I just wanted to also mention that you can't really trust anybody in life. All you can trust is steel. That's why I've been spending all this time in the garage making a sword instead of hanging out with my family. So yeah, he's like, you can't trust anybody. We live in a hard world where like there's a lot of these guys, these barbarian guys around. But hey, you got this sword now that I've been spending a lot of time making, so you'll be all right. And then he's like, oh, by the way, we believe in Crom. Crom is their god. It's our god. We believe him. He lives in the earth. I believe in this. I believe this very strongly. Now you believe this. This is how I'm going to present life to my child. I haven't had this talk with my son yet. He's a little older. I'll sit down and tell him all about Crom. It's pretty crazy, cool. It's a cool scene, but it's crazy. It's like has this like green screen cloud thing going on where they're like talking in front of cloud. It's just kind of and a guy saying insane shit, but it's a good scene. It works. This whole movie just works so beautifully. It has this thing where it in other shittier movies there would be more fantasy things about it, but it kind of always like returns to this kind of grim realism, and that's the kind of thing that I really identify with, grim reality. I don't know if that's a good thing, but yeah, I liked that about it. Also, the scenes are just really good. The script is awesome. It has these really cool scenes. Can't wait to talk about them. And then you have great performances. And then you have an Arnold Schwarzenegger performance, which is fun. But he's also like there's just this crazy physical specimen. So you're watching there's like that spectacle thing about him. Anyway, so dad tells him about Crom, yeah, as we all do. And and then we meet his mom, and you're like, oh my God, his mom is hot as shit. Everything's going great. This guy's got a new sword. He's got a hot light lady. And and then unfortunately, as as would happen in the time of the barbarians, uh, they just all get fucking raped and murdered by just guys running their horses through the town. And I was seeing that like I was like, why would they do that? Why do people do like are they burning down everything? Are they taking stuff? Like they're I guess I don't have what it takes to be a barbarian or to rape and pillage. But I guess you never know. Never say never. So, but oh, it's cool. It's got dogs and like they have like collars that have spikes on them and stuff like kind of S&M dogs, I guess. But kind of crazy stuff. It's kind of a brutal scene, actually. You're seeing like a lot of brutal stuff. And the dad especially gets like it brutally by these S&M dogs. They start pegging them and like, fucking lubing them up, spit roasting them. These two dogs on a man, it's insane. But yeah, so it's kind of a crazy scene. You're like, oh damn, I thought everything was great. You got a sword now. And then you're just like, holy shit, this guy's now I get why they believe in Crom. You got to believe in something. I don't know what that means. But so their whole village gets killed except for the mom, Conan and his hot mom. And and then the like leader of this of these guys comes out and he's wearing like a cool helmet and everything. And you're like, oh my God, this is going to be the most intimidating man I've ever seen. He gets off his horse, walks over. By the way, the guys that you've seen from this like marauding band of rapists, just a guys riding on horses around raping. There's just a bunch of rapists on horses, which is terrifying. So you see, like they all have like this crazy, like they all have like these crazy bangs. It's like long hair bang look, uh, where it's like they all kind of look like white women in Brooklyn. It's like indie rock hipster chicks, which is a cool look for rapists. That's not normal. Normally I think we all have an image of in our head of what a rapist might be, depending on how racist you are. That could, you know, change depending on. But these guys kind of they do things a little differently, let's say. So anyway, the big guy, the king of the rapists gets off his horse, walks over to the mom and Conan, who are very scared. Saw their dad get pegged by dogs, and he takes his helmet off, and it's James Earl Jones. Obviously, everybody knows this because everybody's seen this movie except me. James Earl Jones in an amazing wig. It's like you don't really notice the guys having the bangs at the time because you're like, oh, this is like period specific. These guys are just like, this is what they used to have. And you're like, I'm not going to see anything fucking crazy about to happen. And he gets out. The James Earl Jones comes off his horse. He gets out, and you're like, oh, he's gonna about to take his helmet off. This guy's gonna be cool as shit. He takes it off. He has the craziest wig I've ever seen. It's almost like James Earl Jones was like, I'm only doing this movie if I'm wearing the stupidest looking wig I can possibly wear. It's an incredible reveal. It's such a funny little sequence of shots of these guys with these bangs. Like it shows like a guy with the bangs. So you're like, okay, that's whatever. And James Earl Jones comes down and he takes his helmet off, and you're like, holy shit, that's the most insane hair I've ever seen. I thought, and it's like the same thing as that guy's, but it's for some reason on James Earl Jones. I never expected to see it on James Earl Jones, I guess. And then it cuts back, and then there's another guy with that hair, and now you're like, oh, okay, this is funny. Like these guys all have wigs. Then it cuts back, and it's James Earl Jones and another guy in one shot. It's like two bangs, two killer bangs in one shot. Um, anyway, I thought that was pretty awesome. Uh, Also, like this comes after this brutal mass murder scene that happens. You're not like in the mood, or like you're not, the movie has not prepared you to see something this insane as James Earl Jones in this like long hair with bangs wig. I never ever pictured James Earl Jones in that with that look my whole life. I didn't know that I wanted to see it, and now I obviously I can't stop thinking about it. So it's just a really, really good character reveal. Maybe one of the best character reveals in movies. And so gets off, and you're like, oh, this guy with the crazy bangs and stuff. He seems like a sensitive soul. But he walks over to the mom, hot mom. The movie is saying that she's hot too, by the way. This is not just me. So he walks over to the mom, and the mom is scared with the sword that Conan's dad made. And James Earl Jones's character's name is Thulsa Doom, by the way. So Thulsa Doom, uh, I think that's where the town in Oklahoma gets its name, by the way, Tulsa, Oklahoma. So he walks over to Conan and his mom. Mom's trying to protect Conan. He's sticking the sword out. Obviously, she's like scared and like she's just doing the best she can. James Earl Jones kind of deeply stares into her eyes and into the camera. James Earl Jones is there's this extreme close up of him staring in directly into your soul with these bangs. It's quite hypnotic, I would say. I kind of made me want to get those bangs. But he's looking at her, she's looking at him, and she kind of softens and like is like the scene is saying like, oh, he's gonna make her his bride or whatever. Or just do some, that kind of thing. That kind of thing. So you think that the movie builds it up very well. She kind of puts her sword down. James Earl Jones like turns, like he's like, okay, follow me to my horse. And then he spins around and cuts her head off really quick. And that was a genuine surprise for me. Because you think that, yeah, the movie just does a good job of like saying, like, oh, he's gonna be fucking his mom, and this is gonna be that awful in that way. But then it's like, so it's like this evil thing, and then it becomes more evil and more pointlessly evil for him to cut the head off a lady who's like that hot. You know what I mean? Who would do such a thing, even for the rapists and the pillagers? So it made me also think like, oh, are these guys? Is this like a cult of or like a army of gay guys that are running around? Just saying. It did make me think that. Like, how would you like? What was he thinking? What was Thulsa Doom doing if he's going to cut her head off? He takes concubines later or whatever. Maybe that's for a political. I think these my guys might be gay. It actually kind of. I personally, one of my qualms with the movie is I actually think it would have been kind of better if they were all gay. This is obviously a movie that is, well, Arnold like later on, Arnold like just knocks a gay guy out unconscious because the gay guy's trying to fuck him or something like that, and then he takes his clothes and everything. So it's like this movie would do something like that, and it kind of, I don't know. It's like, what's going on with this movie? What's the snake? What these guys are like all like have these like two snake emblems. It's like, what does the snake mean? It's this snake, in my understanding, traditionally, a snake is in a story. That's pretty much a penis. So this is a church, or it's like, yeah, we find out later this is like a church of snake guys. Like it's like one of those snake churches. You know what I'm saying? Which those actually exist. So I mean, it's not like this. It's not like this kind of a snake church. This isn't this the snake church in this movie is not a real snake church. Real snake church, it's like if you don't know, they hold the snakes and they get bit by venomous snakes on purpose to like show off how tough they are, how much God loves them or something. I don't, it's kind of like a brag. But or they're being like, I love God this much. Watch this. I'm gonna hold this thing. It's gonna kill me, but I love God. So That's the real Snake Church. I'm talking about something much more absurd. Just kidding. Anyway, so I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to, or you can do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Go to Snake Church, check it out. Maybe you like it. Um, so Thulsa Doom, James Earl Jones in bangs, and his army of guys in bangs. So they keep the children from the village. They only keep the children. And I don't really understand why they did that. Like, I don't know what they're doing with them. Like, they fucking up. Like, what is there? It's like some reading between the lines thing that I don't get. Like, where they're fucking them, or because a woman, they take them and they chain the kids to a thing called the Wheel of Pain, and basically, it's like I don't know what the Wheel of Pain is for, but if you're trying to do like physical labor, you know what I mean? Like a child is not like good for that. I understand that once they become like a buff Arnold Schwarzenegger, then they're really good at the Wheel of Pain. But before that, you'd have like 10 years of this, you being like, Jesus Christ, can you push the Wheel of Pain a little faster? I'm trying to fucking finish my slave driving shift. Anyway, so Conan gets jacked. He gets super jacked, pushing this Wheel of Pain in a circle for years. It's cool, but again, I don't know what that thing is doing. I don't know why they're doing this. Um, but something that is cool about this sequence is like they show him doing that for 10 years or whatever, and they show like an age progression and they show like a buffness progression, which is one of my favorite progressions. But kind of like those before and after pics of people that take, when they're fat and disgusting, and then when they're hot later on. So, but instead of being fat and disgusting, they're just a child. So, um, but I was thinking like the Wheel of Pain is basically a metaphor for having a job. It's like Arnold, this is the only job that Conan ever had, was being chained to the Wheel of Pain and stuff. And I mean, yeah, he's like, I have to do 10 hours on the Wheel of Pain. I can't hang out. So it really is like the only job I see Conan do the entire, well, I guess he's a gladiator, but I don't know. That's kind of like, it's not really like a job you like clock in on, you know? Hey, I heard, by the way, I heard they passed a bill in Arkansas recently that so kids can be hooked up to the Wheel of Pain. So just a little child labor joke. But yeah, so Conan's job for 10 years, Wheel of Pain. Be kind of nice to have a job like that. Like a job that makes you extremely jacked, you know? Like jacked enough where you can fucking kill your boss, cut his head off. That's actually probably that's maybe that why most employers don't hire people for a Wheel of Pain. So anyway, no, this is not a job. These are slaves, of course, unfortunately. But hey, if I had a slave that was getting as buff as Arnold gets in this movie, I would maybe rotate him to something inside, you know, like laundry or something food related. But I don't have slaves. So, what do I know? One day, one day I will have slaves. No, I'll never be able to get it together enough to have a slave. But and of course I wouldn't have a slave if I could have a slave, but I won't even have the opportunity, is what I'm saying. I know me. I know myself. My wife will tell you the same thing. There's no way I'll be able to get my shit together enough to have a slave. And if I did have a slave, I'd be just like, I don't know, what are you trying to, I guess you could fucking take me to the grocery store, or I don't know. I don't know what you do with slaves, but then it snaps. So like after this Wheel of Pain montage, now it's Arnold. He's buff. He has bang hair, almost bang haircut too. I don't know if that like was on purpose, but he looks like he's got some bangs. So it snaps us out of this montage and it snaps him out of this montage too, where it's like, I think it's like a almost like saying like he's like completely detached when he's doing this. He's just like moving forward, surviving, and like all of a sudden it's like boom, he's out of this montage. And they sit him down. They sit him down across from this pit against another guy who has got like a mask on, and another buff guy. Uh, and they're like, what's up, man? What do you do? What are you doing? How'd you get in such good shape? That kind of thing. They sit there. There's another funny thing that happens in this part where like the guy, one of the guys comes on a horse and it's like this very long, drawn out thing of him coming up on a horse. And then like he gets off at this like pit, or maybe it's the Wheel of Pain. I haven't seen this movie a couple of days, but he gets off his horse and walks up to the guy who's watching, standing guard or whatever, and they do like an ancient fantasy world greeting, but it's really just like a stiff high five. He's kind of like, and this is after like a huge buildup. So it's kind of a funny little moment, I thought, if you're into those sorts of things. So anyway, Conan becomes a gladiator. He doesn't know how to do it at first, but he's extremely buff. So he does a great job. I'm getting tired. I don't like doing this. No, it's yeah, I'm not into this. All right. Dude, by the way, I was thinking about this during the like gladiator stuff. So this was like a thing that really happened. Like the Romans had human beings and they forced those human beings to fight to the death. That's like their entertainment. Isn't it crazy that like Rome or Greece or well, I can't remember where this happened. Probably was all over the place. But isn't it crazy that that's like our history as like a species and like a civilization is like that's what we used to do back in the day. Now we're much more civilized, of course. Now it's John Cena and The Rock, slaves. I'm talking about literal modern slavery. Anyway, but yeah, I still don't know why they make these children do this wheel of pain. I don't know, is it just to make them like buff guys for fighting? Because you can do that other way. I mean, I guess if it works, it works, you know? So there's a funny scene where like an agent, I've got a couple of those, uh, some sort of Chinese Mongolian looking guy teaching him how to be a better gladiator fighter, and he's slapping him in the face and yelling at him and stuff. And they've basically turned him into a killing machine guy. That goes away pretty easily, apparently. But yeah, he's for right now, he's a mindless killing machine. Uh, there's a scene where they bring the young woman to him in his cage, and or in his like big kind of locked up room, and he puts a blanket over her, this other like sex trafficked woman, and and then so that's another scene where you're like, oh, Conan's good. He's a feminist, and then he lays her down and rapes her. But what do we expect? You know, he's a barbarian. That's what they do, from my understanding. By the way, Conan, I was thinking about this. Conan is not that young when he's captured. You know, he's pretty like developed as a person. His dad's talking to him about Crom, and he's ready to hear about Crom, you know? And now he's extremely buff and just does whatever these Chinese guys tell him to. He's like their mindless slave, this like extremely buff expert murderer. And he's not going to do anything. Like he's not going to murder the Chinese guys. Just the thought I had. Hey, you know, you don't know until you've been in that person's shoes. The gladiator is killing people and, you know, against Well, at first it's against will, and then he likes it. I guess that's what happens when you kill people. You don't like it at first, and then you do it, and you're like, oh, this feels incredible. What am I saying? Uh, hey, I gotta say something about Arnold. His sword play. It's not bad. It's not that bad. It's not great with a sword. Let's be honest. I almost think he's too buff. I know these swords are heavy, but he doesn't seem like he's got that fluid movement that I was imagining that these other Chinese guys could actually maybe do. So those guys never tried. That's the thing. They saw the buff guy. They're like, oh, he'll be the best at swords. They never tried to be best at swords. So look, they never ended up doing anything. Just goes to show you. This is going extremely well, I think, by the way. I'm very glad I'm not being interrupted during this. So, so a bearded guy, a ginger guy, he like frees him, I guess. Maybe because he's persecuted. So he's like, I see oppression in other people because everyone talks about how my hair is poofy, red afro, and I look silly and all that stuff. So I'm empathetic. I'm the only empathetic person in this Mongolian army. Genghis Khan, I think. I feel like there's maybe a guy who's trying to be Genghis Khan in and that's who like, well, the movie's trying to say he's Genghis Khan. But so this guy with the beard and the red hair, he frees Conan. He's like, you should be free, and sends him out without a sword. And Conan's just ready to rock. He's ready. He runs. The dogs are chasing him. Getting a lot of good Arnold grunt ADR work. There's a lot of obvious. This is not a new original thing, but I just have to say I appreciate all the fantastic ADR work that Arnold did in this movie. A lot of wah, ah, ugh, that kind of thing. That's my Arnold. I'm working on it. So, oh, something else I noticed that the movie does. So he's saved. So it's like this ginger guy that saves him. So he's saved by the only other white guy in this Mongolian army. Nice try there, people who made this movie. I understand what you're doing. I see. Why couldn't have been a Chinese guy? Different time. Hey, back in the day, people used to think that only white people could be good. So turns out that is not true, but that's what people thought. So for many, many years. Uh, that's we can go into that later, maybe. So he's getting chased by the dogs from the army. He gets up into this hill and he falls back into this like dead king's tomb. And then he kind of like sees the dead king sitting on his throne. It's just a skeleton. There's some skeletons of like his subjects around him and stuff like that. And that was really cool, I thought, because it's like what you don't know, like what kingdom did he rule? How long ago was this? And it's like he's king. He's supposed to be like a god, but he's like now he's just like ashes in the wind, and like an entire kingdom is like in the ruins of an entire kingdom, basically. It's an interesting metaphor for something. The movie is saying something. I don't quite know what it is, but I can feel that it's smart, so I am attracted to that quite a bit. So anyway, he finds the sword and let's see, he's like, cool, thanks. He gets the dead king's sword. And this is one of those cool grim realism or gritty. Yeah, I like no, actually I like the word grim. Grim realism things that the movie is doing. Where he takes the sword from the dead king who's for some reason he died sitting in his throne. I don't know how he died sitting up like that, but that's cool. Uh, he thinks it's Crom, I guess. He thinks everything that happens to him is Crom. Every time something crazy happens, he goes, Crom. I don't know why he thinks that. I guess that's just what happens when you tell a kid that God is Crom and he lives in the earth and then you immediately die. and that kid just thinks everything is Crom now. So so that when he takes the sword, the skeleton of the king starts moving, and you're like, oh shit, he's coming alive, and Arnold is going to have to fight these guys, the skeletons. It's going to be crazy, but really, it's just crumbling. It's just falling apart. This is the grim realism that I think is powerful, or so. I don't know. I just thought it's cool. So let's see. Oh, and so he comes out. He's got this awesome sword, and like the wolves, so the dogs are still there, and he kind of does one of those like Ferris Bueller, or like looks at the cameras, and like he doesn't like make his eyebrows go up and down, but he kind of does. Um, so instead of showing him fight the wolves, it just cuts to him afterwards. He's wearing all the wolf pelts, which is awesome. And he's walking through the woods. He's got like his all wolf skin shit on. Um, that's how I get my clothes too. But so this is a cool little scene because there's no music in this scene after he kills the wolves. He's just slowly walking through the woods, but he's like focused and like listening to like the birds and the hawks and the nature sounds around him. It's kind of like being on mushrooms. It's kind of like he's just like wandering around on mushrooms. And he's like, wow, I can see the trees finally, you know? But I thought that was a nice little scene. There's a nice like touch to this movie and throughout. Like that's one of them. And who does he come across? He comes across a hot lady living in the middle of the woods. Nothing suspicious about that. It's just a regular hot lady, like modern hot lady, like living in a cave or like a hut. You're just like, okay, cool. That's how it used to be back then. So a lot of people don't know that. But so she's like comes out immediately and is like, would you want to come inside? And this lady's awesome. She's her performance is really good in this movie. But I will say if you see a woman in the woods, just a random hot lady, and she's like, do you want to fuck? To me, that's a warning sign. So he goes into her hut, and she's acting like a cat and like talking, and she's really good. Um, and she's like, "I'll tell you this stuff you need to know, but there's a price." Turns out that price is he has to have sex with the lady, the witch. Can you believe it? She wants to have sex with him. It's crazy. So, and it's cool. It's kind of sexy, honestly. Like she's like trying to tell him this information, but she's moaning because dude, this movie treats Conan like he's a true G. He's never like, I don't know how to fuck a lady. He's just immediately like, yeah, I'm fucking, this is the best sex this lady's ever had. She's like trying to be a witch. She's trying to be freaky, but she can't help it. It's too good, you know? And so he's fucking her. She gives him the information, and then she turns to like this reptile monster lady. And he's obviously that's the last thing any fellow wants to have happen when they're lying down with a lady. So what else can you do? You throw her into a fire. The fire that she invited him to warm himself by the way, seems a little rude in retrospect. I guess she turned into a reptile monster and was clawing him and biting him, but hey, you know, maybe there was a misunderstanding. You don't know, he was never like, hey, what's going on? You know? So he throws her in the fire. She turns into a light and flies away, or that's kind of cool, you know. I don't know what happened, but that's what happened. She flies out of the thing. And he's like, once again, he's like, Crom. So I don't understand why he thinks he's fucked Crom. This is it's a hugely stupid person. So what does he know? He's been on the wheel of pain his whole life. So, and then before that, some guy told him that his god was Crom. That's the only thing that's happened to this person in life. So we got to like, be a little sensitive to that. Anyway, you never really find out what the deal with that witch was, but I love a good witch scene. And I also appreciate that they didn't turn the witch into a freaky old lady, because this is a big thing that freaks me out about witches is like where they lure you as like beautiful younger women, and then you're having sex with them and everything's you're like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me, and then it turns into an old lady. So glad they didn't do that. They just let it be a hot lady. So that's pre appreciated. Um, he comes out. He immediately so Arnold killed that, or I don't know what he did to that witch, but she's gone. He the next morning he comes out. He's fine. He enjoyed. He took a nap there afterwards. Comes out. He meets this thief, Sabato or something like that. I'm not gonna try to do the names of anybody. But this guy's awesome. His performance is really cool. He's like, give me some food so I can have the energy to fight off the wolves. And Arnold is like, I don't know, their rapport is really good. He's like, help. He's like, I haven't eaten in days. And Arnold's like, who says you will? Great Arnold line delivery. But it's like they have this like bro rapport already. He's like, let me die, not from hunger, but in combat. And it's just this really cool shot of this actor who's like kind of mysterious. Like his face is covered up a lot. And he's not like a big guy or anything like Arnold is, but he's has this like really smoldering, cool presence. This thief guy's awesome. So he's this is also another good scene. Like coming off of this great witch fucking scene, like he fucks a witch and the scene's awesome, and then he comes out and then immediately there's another actor who's awesome, like the witch was, and he's doing a really good scene. Like this movie is just like crushing it, like one scene after another. It's good. And so they sit, they talk, they get to know each other, they eat over a fire, and the thief is or like Arnold's like, what gods do you pray to? And the thief is like, I pray to the four winds. And Arnold's like, oh, I pray to Crom. And then they start to be like, oh, Crom is a we're fucking idiots. What are you talking about? Are you like retarded or something? They're like, which god is better? And that sounds fun to argue gods. I know we human beings, I guess, like to do that, like to argue which god is better. And then it cuts to them like, that doesn't like true bros, alphas, cool guys. They don't let that bother them. So it cuts to them. They're bros. It's like a done deal. They're like tight and they're traveling together now. And the way they travel together is just running from place to place, which is awesome. They're in such good shape that they just run everywhere. It's like you're in a video game or something like that. So they go to these different villages and like kingdoms, I guess, or I don't know. It's like in stuff in castles, just broing out, like eating the local foods and like talking to merchants and like going to like an ancient market and stuff like that. Like, just seems like a lot of fun, especially when you're like, you know, with your bro and all that stuff. It's kind of like when like Americans go to other countries, you just kind of treat it like everybody's like weird and everything is like crazy, and you're just kind of like, this place smells, stuff like that. It's a lot of fun traveling, you know. Uh, and they're still like also like looking for Thulsa Doom. He just wants to kill Thulsa Doom, which, you know, who doesn't, honestly? You know what? Instead of killing him, maybe get some hairstyle tips. That'd be so sick if Arnold instead just was like, hey, how do you get your bangs to do that? So they go around asking stuff. They meet a guy who tells them about the snake temples. A white merchant. There's a lot of white people in these like Asian, like Mongolian, like like villages and stuff like that. Arabian villages. It's just all a bunch of like white people, like Midwest looking white people. Um, and this guy's like, I got some Black Lotus. You guys want to try some Black Lotus? And they're like, and the guy and the thief is like, is it he says something like, is this is it like dank or something like he says like the Conan the Barbarian version of like, is it dank? And the guy's like, oh yeah, totally. So then they're wandering around on drugs and oh, and he's even being like, chew it slowly. This is the good stuff. This is good. Like this is good. So he's like teaching Conan how to party basically. And they're like walking around. He punches like a camel, and there's being like just cool dudes in a foreign place. Um, and then I guess they like immediately, or no, they go to the snake temple, and then they're doing this heist thing. But my understanding is they're still high from this Black Lotus stuff, so they're doing like a high heist. That's just like one scene in this movie is like a heist where the two guys, this party of a thief and a barbarian, are high. Isn't that cool? Just like what the like how much more fun can we make this scene? I can't think of it. Well, actually, they can make it more fun because they meet a lady warrior thief. I don't know what she's doing there. Um, she's really great in the movie too. She's a babe. She looks like a buff version of my wife. I had a really good time watching her in this movie. Um, also, so like she joins their party, and now it's the three of them doing this. And thank God it's a woman. You know what I'm saying? If there was another guy, at a certain point, you just be like, okay, there's a lot of fucking guys here. What are we doing? You know, three guys. You got to start a podcast at that point. You know what I'm saying, people? So they do this heist, steal this snake thing, or like all these jewels and shit. He gives her Conan gives the lady warrior in the tavern later. Gives her the biggest jewel, baller move, and they fuck. Of course, I mean, she kind of is a little obligated at that point, but no, she really likes him too. He's charming. I don't know what the thief is doing. I guess the thief is asexual or something like that. Who cares about the thief? Where does he get? You know, maybe he's not like the strongest, biggest guy, but doesn't he deserve love? Anyway, so they fuck. Uh, and they fuck in like a good way too. They're having like a real connection. They're hanging out afterwards. He tells her his life story, and she holds him. This is good stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's what everybody wants when they're going on a Tinder date. They're hoping that this happens. So got to give her those big jewels. But they get arrested by guards and taken to this like Northern King. I think it's Peter O'Toole. He's like old, and he's like, oh, my prince or my daughter is like Thulsa Doom like brainwashed my daughter, kind of like a Charles Manson thing. Or she said that no, sorry. He said that she kidnapped her and he needs her back, I guess. So he's like, will you save her? And you know, Arnold's like, well, the others don't want to. They're like, oh, well, die. It's like certain death. And Arnold's like, I have to do it. I have to kill Thulsa Doom. So he goes off on his own. And this is about halfway through the movie. All right. Now I want to stop for a second and talk about some other thing that I saw in my notes. So Arnold, interesting thing about him, he's definitely giving like a worse performance than the other actors in this movie, or like as an actor, you know, it's kind of like it's like with a movie star, the star is giving like the only bad performance in the movie. Everyone else is doing like very good work. James Earl Jones, the Lady Warrior, the Thief, these guys are like crushing it. And then Arnold's like, yeah, or he says something crazy, but it still works because it's like, he's Arnold and it's funny and like, you know what I mean? It still works in that sense. And it's still like entertaining and watchable. So, but he's also interesting because he's like the cinema. of Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like his body, seeing his body. It's like and the movie does this too. Like the camera just like shows off his physique at different times in like a shot that's not about that, but like that's what the camera is showing is this kind of crazy physique. So anyway, let's continue, I guess. Um, so anyway, so goddamn, that Serpent Temple heist is so cool though. Let's see. He leaves her. He leaves. She doesn't want to go, I guess. I don't know what's up with the thief. We don't really hear from him, but they decide to not join Arnold as Arnold is looking for the for Thulsa Doom. So Arnold he has all these jewels and shit, and he gets a horse and he gets like good armor and stuff like that. He's loaded. He rides past these like religious hippies, basically. It's like the children of the Thulsa Doom. Um, and it's like people that have left his cult and they're like hippies. Doesn't seem like they're that much better off, honestly. But there's cool, like the narrator, the witch doctor guy who narrates is like time for the or they're like put down your weapons and go come back to the earth. And they're like time for earth. There's time for earth in the grave, which is a cool line. But also like I was thinking because Crom is in the is the earth. So doesn't that mean like wouldn't that mean like you're putting yourself in God when you bury a body? You're putting yourself in the just something interesting to think about. It's interesting to think about gods being like from nature and stuff. I understand why like early humans really like locked in on that stuff because you're either like looking at the sun, you're like, what the fuck is that? That must be God. Or you're like being like, oh, we are trees grow from the earth. That something must be down there. This guy Crom must be down there doing that. Um, hey, what are you gonna do? Four wins. That's pretty persuasive. I'm convincing myself now, honestly. My God might be God. Should I like what should I believe in? My God is wood. I just like wood. I mean, I really like wood, so it's my God. Um, all right. If Mike and William were here, I would be asking them which God they believe in. And you can imagine how great that conversation would be. So, okay. Oh, we meet the witch doctor. Uh, the witch doctor's okay. I don't really get him honestly, but it's all good. He gets to the Snake Temple by himself to kill Thulsa Doom and rescue the princess, but it's like very intimidating. There's like tons of people and stuff, and there's like tons of guards, and it's basically like a certain death sort of thing if he tries to do anything in public like this. And but there's this crazy scene. I'm sure that this has been talked about a bunch, but like where he is talking to like one of these priests at this snake temple, and it's like the priest like is immediately hitting on him and setting it up so Arnold can then like take his clothes and stuff, but it's also just like an excuse. Arnold just like punches a gay man in the face and knocks him out and then takes his clothes. So, which that also feels a little gay, by the way. I don't know if anybody ever brought that to Conan's attention, but so he wears the clothes and they catch him anyway because he's obviously gigantic. Um, oh, and he sees that the princess that he's going to rescue is like under the spell, or like she's like a believer of Thulsa Doom now. She like is into it, and who could blame him? You know what I'm saying? Who could blame her? So she just got like caught one look at those bangs and was like, damn, I know he's evil, but those bangs are getting to me. I've been there too on the reverse of that when I was more of a single man. You just see a girl in bangs, you're like, this is an insane psychotic person, but this bangs are doing something to me. So that's where she's at. Um, so he gets caught. Oh, it's funny. Thulsa Doom has a pharaoh's hat, kind of like a pharaoh, like the things on the side, but it's the shape of his hair. So he's wearing a hat that's the exact shape of his hair. I would love to have that kind of hat. Um, let's see. Yeah, he gets caught. Oh, and then he's brought to Thulsa Doom later. And this is James Earl Jones' like big scene in the movie where he's doing like a Shakespearean monologue. Um, and that's cool. That's why you hire like a good actor like this for the villain role, so they can do like this monologue halfway through that, like tells everybody that stuff. Or what does that mean? I'm getting tired. Sorry. So he's like, uh, also he's touching snakes. He touches a snake during it. He's like interacting with snakes. It's pretty. That's not an easy thing for an actor to do. But Thulsa Doom is like kind of being like he's presenting the opposite argument as his father. He's saying it's not about steel, it's about flesh. He's saying like flesh is true power. Like look at you, like look how buff you are. I made you buff. So why are you mad at me? I made you this buff. I gave you all this. Um, and he makes a girl jump off a cliff and then like kill herself. Seems excessive just to make a point, but again, I'm not in Thulsa Doom's shoes. And then he's like, contemplate this. He tells him all this shit about the flesh and stuff. And he's like, contemplate this on the tree of woe, which is an awesome line. And then Arnold's like crucified on this tree. It's like very good movie tree. That's why they picked it to be the tree of woe, I guess. But so he's sitting there crucified. He looks like buff Jesus, you know, and that's my Jesus is buff as fuck. My guy is so buff. So this is kind of that's what I'm saying. I watched this movie 3 times. I think I found the story of my Jesus. This is he's my Crom, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, this thing of him being crucified, there's a really good sequence of dissolves in this scene where like every shot is just like very perfectly composed to dissolve into the next. Just really good craft. I tip my hat to you, uh, John Milius or Milieu or whatever his name is. Um, and then the thief comes. It teases it kind of like it's a mirage, like he's seeing the thief run up to him from afar and he's like laughing, as he's come completely like out of it and stuff like that. And then it's like there's a beat where he doesn't come and then he does come back up. Um, so that's good storytelling. And then another awesome dissolve to his lady. She's back with his lady and the witch doctor and the thief. And so he died. I guess he died on the tree of woe, or he's in a coma maybe. So they bring him back. The witch doctor does a spell to bring him back, do some face paints, some just they're kind of like drawing stuff on him and everything. That's what you do when your friend is passed out, I guess. You just start drawing on their face. But they do this thing where they like tie his body, they wrap his body up and then they tie it to these 2 sticks with these ropes. And then like these like wind spirits come and try to like take him. Which by the way, like, does that mean like the gods are winds? I feel like it's saying that the god is in the winds. It's not like the earth is coming up and but he's like, of course, he's not conscious for this part, so he doesn't see that the thief friend who believes in the 4 winds is maybe right. Um, anyway, this is a cool scene where there's like Arnold's stiff body is like kind of bouncing in the wind, and then they like add another thing on top of it with these like kind of cool drawing like effects shots of these like wind guys trying to get him. And then on top of that, the lady warrior and the thief, they are fighting off the wind guys on they're like on Arnold's body, like fighting off the wind guys. It's like an incredible, there's just like all this crazy shit happening. It just keeps getting better and better. And they everything works out great. The sun rises, Arnold is alive. His lady holds him. Uh, then there's like a shot of Arnold in a field wielding this like heavy sword, like expertly wielding it. And I appreciate that. There's none of this like I need to get my strength back horse shit. Like that's beta shit. So he's just immediately like the strongest guy in the world again, and he's he's fine. He had the wind guys try to kill him, and they fought off, and they drew on his face, so he's fine now. So who cares? Forget about the tree of woe. You guys forget about being crucified. It's over. That's the past. So another cool thing about this scene is like again about like Arnold being this in terms of like the cinema of Arnold. It's like you're watching. It's like so he's like holding this big heavy broadsword and doing like twirls with it and shit, like moving it around. And that's like physically that's hard to do. Pretty sure that's hard to do. Like so you're seeing Arnold do like a hard thing where he's like moving this heavy ass sword around in this field and stuff. It's like nobody, it's not, I mean, maybe it's a prop sword. Also, it could definitely be a prop sword and be not physically hard to do at all. But let's just pretend it is. All right, I'm getting so close to being done, and I'm kind of passing out. Uh, so he's back, baby. Conan's back. They go rescue the slave girl, and they're in like stealth war paint. They look so cool. The lady warrior especially looks awesome. Um, Good Halloween costume for any female listeners if you want to completely alienate the people that you're with. Dress up as the lady warrior from Conan in her stealth war paint. She just looks good. That's all I'm saying. But so they sneak through like the slave. They go into like Tulsa Doom's. He's found his temple now, so they go back and they go into the slave level, like the dungeon or whatever, like the furnace room, and it's very like I don't know what that is, but it's like there's weird like that sort of like choir stuff, but it's like a choir of people that are being weird. They're not singing like pretty music, they're being like weirdos. It's like a choir of that. Um, and they go through that, they sneak through that. Thank God they're wearing their stealth war paint. Nobody sees them. They sneak through that and then they go into this like big orgy room. There's like a big orgy happening. Classic Snake Temple stuff. If you're joining the Snake, you better expect there to be some orgies happening at the Snake Temple. Otherwise, this is a lame ass Snake Temple. So they find out, or I guess he knew before that the princess is turned. She's been turned. She's into snakes. She likes snakes now. She wasn't sure at first, but now she likes snakes. She might get one when she goes back home. Uh, and then James Earl Jones, he turns into a snake. Not sure what the deal with that is, but he's can turn into a snake. He does that only one time, and then he doesn't do it again, and he gets his head cut off later. So, what are you gonna do? Hey, we don't have time for everything in this movie. They're just showing a bunch of shit. So they take the lady against her will, the snake lady. She's like, "Stop! I like these snake. I'm gonna be one of those people that walks around with a snake." Or I don't know. Um, but they escape. Thulsa Doom takes an arrow, shoots the lady warrior, kills the lady warrior as they're escaping. Of course he does. This motherfucker. It's just normal story stuff though. It's like you gotta give Arnold a reason to go back. Because if the lady warrior was alive, she would convince him to give up his thing. And nobody wants to see that. We want to see this motherfucker Thulsa Doom get his bangs cut, you know? So yeah, Conan's like, oh, I definitely gotta go back and kill this motherfucker. And he's like, fuck, I should have done that the first time. Fuck, I was distracted by the orgy. So there's a lesson in there, by the way, for anyone like seeking revenge. So like the person are that you want to get revenge on, they're living a really sick ass life, way better than yours. Okay. So when you get close to them, finally, after years and years on the wheel of pain, and you see them and you see their sick ass life, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by the orgy that they're participating in. Don't be like, fuck, oh man, I always wish I was in one of these. You got to stay focused on your revenge, you know? Um, and so anyway, they cremate the lady warrior on a pyre, I think it's called. Um, Cremating your lady warrior has seems like a tough thing to do, not gonna lie, but I'll do it if I have to. So the princess has been turned by the cult, so they have to keep her chained. There's a really cool shot after Arnold has to like, cremate his lady warrior and like where he's just like sitting there thinking on like a mountain and he's like looking out quietly, thinking. I don't know how much thinking he's actually doing, Arnold, but the character is thinking. The character's probably not doing that much thinking either, but he's sitting there in the thinking pose as normal humans do. And the camera kind of pans around him, and then you see the princess chained up to a rock in the background, which is awesome. Just classic like barbarian shit, you know? Like this movie has like this kind of thoughtfulness to it, but it's like the thoughtfulness of a dude who just is like killing things constantly and fucking things and just is like a big like meathead. So it's got like that meathead, like it's like an intellectual. That's not the right word, but you get what I'm saying. Maybe you don't, but whatever. We're almost done. So I was, you know, upset when they killed the lady warrior. Of course, it's kind of like watching my wife get shot with an arrow by a guy with bangs. A little tough, but yeah. I mean, I was affected by this because I liked this lady warrior a lot. I've been in more, so yeah. So I watched this movie 3 times. I was excited to talk about the movie and stuff, but I just like I haven't done that in a long ass time. Watching like the last movie I watched this much in this short amount of time was maybe Fury Road in the theaters. Um, I have 2 kids now and stuff, so I'm not like I don't have time to really watch movies usually. But I keep like wanting to throw this on and just kind of just pretend I'm Conan, you know? Anyway, so the nice thing about this pace wise, as soon as this happens, he is immediately going and killing him. It's not like another hour of shit happening like there would be in like a movie today. It's like immediately there's a night ceremony at the Snake Temple. They're all cutting their bangs together. It's a big thing. They all do it together. It's a lot of fun. Um, James Earl Jones is on top of the big temple talking. And then Arnold's just like appears there, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, what the fuck?" And James Earl Jones kind of turns and looks into his eyes. I don't know, did they give him contacts in this movie or something like that? Because there's a lot of shots of James. I feel like James Earl Jones is like showing off green contacts that he has in this movie, looking right into the camera. Um, but very powerful. He's a dramatic master thespian. So it's it's that's something, I guess. You're not like looking into Arnold's like vacant expression. You're looking into like a real heavy, heavyweight actor. Um, he says a little bit like, come, just, I gave you all this and stuff. And then Arnold just cuts his head off in kind of a cool, like, not clean way, you know, it takes a couple whacks and then he has his head, holds the head up by the bangs, throws it in. It would be cool if he just cut his bangs though, instead of the head, and then the movie ends. And then everybody's like, this guy looks terrible now. Um, so he cuts his head off, and then immediately that's it. The movie ends. There's a cool little final shot that I liked a lot where Arnold is like an old king now, and he's got like a beard and he's gray and stuff. And he's like sitting on a throne, and it's just like slow push in on him as like the narrator's kind of giving like an epilogue of the story. being like he became a king by his own hand, but that's a different story. Um, it's funny that they didn't. I haven't seen Conan the Destroyer, but the sequel, but like the only thing I've seen from it is the scene where there's like this giant monkey guy that's swinging Arnold around. So you think that you're going to see this thing where he becomes king by his own hand, but he's like getting flung around by a giant monkey man and stuff. Funny stuff. Anyway, this movie is awesome. I give it 4.5 stars. Five is I get it, you know. Um, anyway, thanks for listening. Um, and I'm so sorry that when we do this again, the next episode, I'll be back and I'll keep getting rudely interrupted by William trying to talk about the movie and things that he's learned about the movie and stuff like that. My apologies in advance for that. Um, he can't help himself. I really do the podcast for him. It's kind of like a make a wish sort of thing. So just doing it for my little guy. But thanks for listening. Nobody's listening to this.